All right, ma'am. Okay, we are back. Sorry for the technical difficulties with Lynn. So, my dear, so let's talk about some other things right now. So for how are you preparing your children to handle this wealth that you're generating for them?
You broke out. What you said?
I said, how are you preparing your children, right, to handle this generational wealth that you are building for them?
How we are. Well, my oldest is working. The worst thing a parent could do is not be educated themselves. So it's
Mhm.
hard. This is the conversation that me and my husband used to have. It's hard. It was hard for me to teach them something that I didn't know, you know. Um, but once I started improving myself, even though I felt like it was late in the evening, but God timing is always on time. So I teach them about savings. My oldest is working. I teach her responsibility. I gave her a bill to pay. I tell her this is my money, not yours.
There you go. There you go. See,
You're not okay. This is my money, me and my husband money. You get your own money. There ain't no silver spoon over here. Like, I want her to know, I want them to be independent. But
yes,
at the
that's
same
it.
time, if they fall back, they know that she has us. But at the same time, like I said all the time, don't depend on me. Mm-mm,
There you
don't.
go. There you go.
I'm
See,
depending
that's the best
nobody.
thing. That's the best thing. Don't depend on anybody. And my story is a little bit similar to yours. In fact, like I grew up in Boston, and one day I got fed up and I said, where do I want to live? I just pointed to a map and said Florida. I didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
job. I gave most of my stuff to Goodwill, and I told God, please guide my way. And I made it to Florida, and I really had no idea which direction I was going. But here we
That's
stand.
like,
So tell me, do you have any questions for me?
so what inspired you to start this broadcast?
Well, at first, listen, I've never been a social media person. Okay. So again, this COVID-19 thing and the coronavirus, and, my previous job telling me they don't have a position for me and didn't really tell me why. And then the former person who worked with me said to me that, they said I was too aggressive. But the reason I believe they thought I was too aggressive was because I spoke about the issues that are clearly on display right now. So they thought I was just putting it too much in the face of the children. But now it's all over the world, isn't it?
Right.
So I said, I didn't feel any type of way as far as losing the job. I'm like, it was a relief because all my life it felt like I was just working because I had to. I didn't feel like I was a part of anything, belonging. And I really couldn't go out there and protest, as I said, because also I have a little bit of respiratory issues, as you can see, when with my allergies, it's just not giving me any relief. So I don't want to be out there. And I've always wanted just to talk, just, I said, this is the way to do it. Just see if I could go out, if I could stand in front of a camera and speak. And it's so crazy. In a matter of 5 days, I feel this comfortable. And that's crazy for me. So that's what inspired me. And plus wanting to hear stories like yours, I just figured there was a niche for hearing stories about entrepreneurs, both young and old, who overcome adversity and don't necessarily fit the structure of what society says that you have to do this, 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 and that. And for us to know that we are all creators, and
Right.
and I commend you for the creation that you have done with, you created beautiful children, you created a beautiful relationship, and you're creating your wealth on your own terms, you know and I appreciate that. And I think that the world needs to hear voices like yours, especially now, people of color who are doing it in the midst of this tragedy, in the midst of these ashes, because you're supposed to rebuild in the midst of ashes. Like, you're your own phoenix. Like I said, you're rising to your own occasion. And to me, we all need to do that. So I'm trying to rise to the occasion and presenting voices like yours out here in the world. So that's what the reason why.
That's awesome. But you all are rising to the occasion. You know, we all are creators. You know what I'm saying? We are, you know, God is in control, but he has already given us that authority through what he did for us already.
Yeah.
So like we just have to take ownership of who we really are and just walk with it. To you right now, what you're doing, you like, oh man, I didn't think I could do this, but it's good. But the you that was already created to be great already knew what it was. Sometimes we need, you know, as painful as this situation is, and a lot of people, a lot of innocent people probably is affected by this pandemic, but this is something that was needed. You know, great things come out of dark places.
Yes,
You
yes,
know,
yes.
sometimes as human nature, we get too comfortable that we won't move unless something happens. If
Hmm.
this didn't happen and your job did what it did, you would have been able to be. We would have been met, or we would have.
Yeah.
You still would have been on your job. So at
Yeah.
times, even with myself, sometimes we'll be fighting because our spirit already know what we are created to do.
Hmm.
We just need to listen. And like I always tell my kids, God is always talking. We just not listening. You
Hmm.
know, the path is so easy and plain. We make it complicated because we like, well, I can't do this. Well, that's not me. But who told you that's not you? You pick up these habits as you got, you know, as you journey throughout life, but that's not you anyway. So
Yeah,
we
that's
put
indoctrinated.
titles. Right, we put title on our own stuff and we become heavy. So when God ready for us to move, we like, wait, it's too heavy. I can't go. I'm not
Hmm.
ready.
Hmm. Definitely,
So,
definitely.
so I just wanted to become the woman that I want my kids to be. And my kids seen my struggles. They seen my ups and my up. They seen my ups and my down, but they saw my attitude. My attitude never changed because I believe, and I used to always say, this too shall pass. But I felt like what I was going through, as long as I kept a positive attitude, not only just for people to see, but really believe that, you know, it's going to be okay, that I was going to be okay. Because
Yes.
I didn't give in to the darkness, you know. I allow my bitterness, the thing that was made to cause me to be bitter, I allow it to better me, you know. And now I just want to help everybody do the same thing. It's like, yo, only if we knew what we're capable of doing, the power that lies within us and our mind. If people knew the power of the mind, they would never think a negative thought again.
Yes, exactly.
It
Exactly.
it's crazy. It's like, yo, and when you go back to scriptures, because I love Tony Robbins, I love life coaching and all of that aspect, because those were the thing that was drawing me close. But when you listen to them, that's all scriptures. All
Hmm.
scripture that just break in a way that people understand it. But at the same time, you know, when Jesus was telling the disciples, you know, dwell on the things that are pure, that's of good report, that's of virtue, you know, dwell
Hmm.
on things. He said that for a reason. You know, whatever you dwell on and whatever you put energy to, that's what you
You get
attract to.
exactly. So it's just like when
You know,
they said um give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, a man or woman, person. Let's be generic here. And but however, if you teach them how to fish,
fish.
they will be fed for a lifetime, honey. You know? And that's what we have to do. We have to teach ourselves how to fish for ourselves because the system is not built to teach us to be anything but consumers, you know? And once we unplug ourselves from it, like you've done, and I am striving to do, and I know many others are, and I hope when I share the story that, you know, others will see that it is possible, regardless of whichever side of the spectrum you come from. Look at both of us start out coming to this country as immigrants, right? I went the traditional route, right? And I have not achieved that freedom that I want to get because I was following consumerism, right? However, you created your clearing earlier than I did. Like you followed that unbeaten path. And that is what we all have to do, because when you go through the unbeaten path, those experiences that you gain, and when you come out on the other side, and I hate to use a cliche, you can finally breathe, right?
Yes, 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 yes. It, 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 it's 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 on a whole different level, you know. In the end of the day, it's not even about the money. It's
No, it's
not even
not.
the house and the car. Is are you progressing? You know, are you growing? And I tell my
Yes,
kids all no matter how old you are, you will always be learning because life is a teacher. It's
yes,
always
it is.
teaching.
Mm-hmm.
But if we stay in that mindset and we play the victim, we would never learn because we always trying to blame somebody instead of looking in the mirror and be like, "Woe is me." You know,
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I first read the story about Job, how he was, you know, sacrificing for his kids and all of that good stuff. And as the story went on, he said, "That which I fear has become my reality." How did what he feared became his reality? Because that's what he was focused on.
Yes.
So when I learned what fear what really was, I said, "Okay, I got you." Because to be afraid is to put energy into it. So
Mm-hmm.
by
Mm-hmm.
putting it into it, I'm giving it life. It can't have no life without me.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
that's what people call the devil, right? Even though the
Mm-hmm.
devil is the one is ourself, our alter ego.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nothing can have power over you unless you give it. And then nothing have meaning until you give it a meaning. So it's like the story we tell ourselves is what keep us hostage of becoming free.
True. True. True.
Something just like how the story for years that I was telling myself was I wasn't good enough because I didn't go to college. And that had me down for years. But that was the story I told myself until I broke that wall down. I was like, nah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm more than enough. And when I realized I was more than enough, I came out like a champ, you know?
There you go. There you go, Miss Lynn. Well, Miss Hughes, I am going to say good evening, and I want to thank you for your time and your thoughts and your sharing. It's fully appreciated. And I'm going to say namaste, which means I honor the spirit in you.
Yes, yes. Oh, I know. Yeah, I did my head. Well,
Namaste, my friend. Namaste. I'll talk to you
yes.
soon, okay? Take care of
Thank
you
you.
and your
Thank
lovely family. Good night.